Just give me 1 minute. Well, I think that's probably an ample demonstration of giving into temptation. But we all give into temptation sometimes, don't we? Whether trivial temptations or something more serious. It's part of the reason that Jesus taught us to pray that we wouldn't be led into temptation. But what is temptation and why does it matter? Well, I think when we give into temptation, what we're doing, especially when we do it repeatedly and consistently, is we're stopping ourselves, in some sense, being human beings, fully alive, people who are created, living in God's image, people who are seeking truth, living lives of love and hope in a broken world. So to give into temptation again and again is to be less than we are called to be. Now, there are different kinds of temptation, aren't there? There's perhaps the obvious temptation to do things that are wrong, and the Bible calls these things sin. These are things that hurt other people, that belittle God or others, giving way to hatred or anger, or treating others as less than they're called to be. Then there are other more subtle temptations. We might call these the temptations for more. And these are temptations to do things or to have things which aren't bad in and of themselves. Things like holidays, a nicer house, perhaps a decent bottle of Chateauneuf de Poix, or whatever else your particular flavour of things might be. Now, these things aren't bad in themselves, but when they become an obsession, when they begin to take our time and our energy, what happens is they take our eyes off God. And so the Bible calls these things idols, things that we treat in some way, big or small, as God. And when we give way to these things, we become less than we were called to be. We stop being human beings fully alive, living God's way. And then there's perhaps the most subtle and complicated kind of temptation. We might call these, I suppose, temptations of perception. And these are the temptations when we begin to see ourselves or others as less or more than God sees us. The Bible tells us two amazing truths. It tells us that we are of infinite significance, that we are precious because we are known by the Creator of the universe and He loves us. You are so much more valuable than you could ever realise or comprehend. You are completely and utterly loved. But the Bible has another truth to go side by side with that amazing truth, and that is this: you are no more loved and no more special than anyone else. We are all made in God's image. We are all valuable. We all matter. And temptations of perception is when we view ourselves or we view anyone else as being less or more than we were created to be. When we are prideful, when we are full of ourselves, when we belittle ourselves or don't view ourselves as significant enough. Now, what all these different and varied temptations have in common is that when we give into them, when they take over us, we cease being human beings fully alive, human beings made in God's image, human beings who are designed to seek after truth, seek to live lives of love, seek to be part of community, human beings made in the image of God. I don't know what temptations you find particularly difficult, but the beauty of the prayer that Jesus taught us is that it suggests that God will offer us His strength by His Holy Spirit to support us in them. Yes, we'll get it wrong. Yes, we'll give in to temptation sometimes, but that doesn't need to be the end of the story. And I hope and pray today and onwards you will know God's grace and strength when you face temptations in your life, whatever those may be.